Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Learning Information Technology with Teacher Stone. I ask that you subscribe to my channel and that you tell a friend to tell a friend to subscribe also. Please remember to turn on your notification bell so that you will know when a new video has been added. In this video, we are going to be looking at database management systems. And so this lesson is titled Introduction to Database. Let's get to learning. The objective of this video is to help you to explain the concept of a database and to help you get a clear understanding of what is meant by the term database. We are going to look at an example. Roxborough Medical Center has been in operation for over 25 years. With so many years of operation, they have acquired large amounts of data. They have been using filing cabinets to store data such as employee records and patient records. This system is referred to as a manual database system. What this means is that there are sheets of paper with data that are stored in a paper folder, which is then placed in a filing cabinet. This, in a nutshell, is a manual database. We have what we call a computerized database also. But what exactly is that? Well, a database is a data structure that stores organized information. Most databases contain multiple tables, which may include several different fields. For example, a company might have a database that has tables for employees, products, and financial records. Each of these tables would have different fields that are relevant to the information stored in the table. A database also refers to a repository as it contains a collection of information that is related to each other. Let's look at this example. A table may contain information about students, such as their name, age, gender, and address. There may also be another table that will contain information about the subjects the students are taking. So we would realize that the two tables are related as they speak about one subject, the students. In the example with Roxborough Medical Center, we were looking at a manual database. And now we've been introduced to a computerized database. Let's try and differentiate between a manual and a computerized database. Manual database is limited by the physical storage space available. If we go back to our example at the outset, Roxborough Medical Center would have been in operation over 25 years. They would have been seeing a lot of patients. And so they would have a lot of files. With so many years of operation, we couldn't imagine that one room would be sufficient to store all those files. That must be a very packed room if it is only one room. So a manual database depends on physical storage space. A manual database also takes time to search through all the records because it means that you have to go into every single filing cabinet to take out the files, to search through every single one of them to find a file. Additionally, it is difficult to sort data on more than one criteria. So we would have to be pulling out all these files from all these cabinets in order to sort them. I'm sure you would agree with me that this is time consuming. In a manual database, records can be lost or misfiled. This would mean that it would be very hard to find them. especially if we have more than one room being used as a storage space. The files could be left on a desk. Quite frankly, the opportunities are endless as to how the files could have been lost or misfiled. It is difficult to search for specific criteria, as every record would have to be manually looked at. So if we wanted to pick out the names of the patients who reside in Kingston, we would have to go through every single file in Cabinet and look through every single file to pull out the ones who reside in Kingston. That could take days, weeks, you never know. And changes in the manual database must be done manually. So if a patient relocates, then we have to find their file to cross out the current address to put in the new one. That can make for a messy file. Finally, we look at the point where we see that in a manual database, it is difficult to make a backup of a file. Because what this means is every single page would have to be rewritten or photocopied. And additionally, what this also means is that we would require extra storage space to hold the backup files. And we remember that a manual database is limited by the physical storage. Let's look at the computerized database. This database can hold a vast amount of data as storage capacity is not an issue. We can locate a specific record quickly, as we can simply type in the name and the record pops up. Data can be sorted into ascending and descending order on multiple criteria. So we don't have to manually go in and put the records in alphabetical order. This computerized system does that for us. Records are stored safely, so there's no need to worry about records being misfiled. And so in the computerized database, they are available when we need them. Additionally, we can easily search for records that match a specific criteria. So we can enter the criteria with the location Kingston, and it would provide us with the names of all the patients who reside in Kingston. Beneficial, isn't it? In the computerized database, we can easily update or amend the record. So when a patient relocates, we simply go in and change the address. That can be done in a minute. And with this system, it is easy to make a backup. We simply copy the file and we don't have to worry about the storage because this system can hold a vast amount of data. And we do not have to be copying pages as this is an electronic system. Having examined the difference between the manual and computerized database, I am sure you would agree with me that the computerized database is most beneficial in this modern era. There are some terminologies that are associated with a database that we must become familiar with. Let us look at those. Now, if you are in fifth form at this time, you would be working on your school-based assessment. And your school-based assessment has a database section. And so you will become familiar with these terms. And the first term we're going to be looking at is database management system. Now, this is a system that manages the storing, retrieval, and updating of records. So you are going to be creating this system that is going to be holding data. You're going to be using queries to do the retrieval and the updating of records. The database that you are creating will be a relational database management system, as it will store records in a set of related tables. So there is going to be a piece of data that allows the tables to be related. It's like DNA, right? It allows us to know that we are related. A table is used to hold numerous related records of stored data. And so you are going to be creating tables that contains records. Now, these records contains data about individual item or entity. And the entity is a thing, a person, or event that has characteristics for which we are interested in recording data. An entity could be an object, such as a car, or persons employed in the same company. So in effect, an entity is an object about which information is stored. Now, the characteristics of an entity are referred to as attributes, and the attributes describes an entity. Let's look at an example. The entity could be the car. Now, what information would you be interested in knowing about a car? Well, for one, we would want to know the manufacturer. Is it Toyota, Honda, Nissan, Audi? We would also want to know the model. Is it a 2020 Honda Civic? Is it a 2021 RAV4? That type of information is interesting. Additionally, we would want to know the number of seats. Is it a 5-seater or is it a 7-seater? And definitely, we would want to know the color. Is it black, blue, red, or gray? Now, while we put together all this information, there is something that we must bear in mind. For each piece of information that we put in our table, we must select the appropriate data type. Now, several pieces of data will be entered, and so a wide range of data type is available in the relational database management system. So let's look at the common data types that you're going to be seeing over and over again as you work through your database. We're going to be seeing text, numeric, logical, currency, and date and time. Now let's look at these individually. The text data type will include words or a sequence of alphanumeric characters. Now this would include letters and symbols such as the @ sign, a hyphen, things like those. Then we would look at the numeric data type, which would include integers, which are whole numbers, or real, which would refer to decimal numbers. We also have the logical data type, which requires a true or false selection or a yes or no. This we refer to as a Boolean selection. Then we have currency, which caters to any value that is monetary. Then there comes date and time, which speaks to various formats for holding date and time. Now that we have identified the most common data types, let's try and match these with appropriate examples. So an appropriate piece of data that would fall under text or have text as its data type would be last name, first name, address, name of school. Those are ideal pieces of data for text data type. For numeric data type, we could have age, as that would be considered an integer. Percentage would be considered as real because it could have a decimal place. Additionally, it could also be a whole number, and so it would carry a numeric data type. For the logical data type, we could look at the question, are you a student? Which would require a yes or no response. For currency, the cost of an item or salary or wages would be an appropriate piece of data, as those are all monetary values. For date and time, We could look at a student's date of birth or the date they started this particular school or the date that they joined the 4-H club. Or for an individual, the date that they started working at a specific organization. Those are all examples that match these data types. And so at this point, you are more equipped to work through your table selecting data types. In our next video, we are going to be looking at table structures. So I want to ensure that you have subscribed to my channel so that you will know when that video has been added. This channel serves the purpose of helping you to become knowledgeable in the subject information technology. If you have questions, please post them below or send me a DM on my Instagram page at LIT with Teacher Stone. I ask that you follow me also on Instagram so that you can get tips and tricks and bits of information to guide you as you head toward your CSEC exam, in which you will be successful as I am here to guide you. Thanks for watching and stay blessed.